Shalom. So today we're going to talk about application, applying changes, right? And the application of this knowledge is the manifestation of what we call wisdom, right? So we're going to look at different aspects when it comes down to applying changes, because a lot of us, we never really get to the point where we want to get to. So what we do is we hold the belief that we're already there, and it causes a contradiction with the spirit and the ego. Sometimes we appear to be this person, next time we appear to be another person. Sometimes we don't know who we actually are. This can be very confusing, not just to others, but for ourselves. And that makes it hard to communicate with other people, because sometimes we're saying this, but what they're seeing is that, right? So the aspects that we're going to look at is the setting of goals, because sometimes you want to get here, but you never set small goals that would be along the path of getting to where you want to get to. So sometimes we don't do something right in here because we lack the awareness. We start to do what? Form our own conclusion. So now we start to do what? Give up. We say, oh, this is not working out, when we never actually got here. Right? So the goals that we're going to set is also going to go into the next thing, which is the things that are hindering us from making the new change, and also the things that are conducive to the change that we want to become. So it is for and against, right? Then after that, we're going to look into the effort or sacrifice. What are we willing to give up to reach our ultimate goal? We want to get here. What are we willing to give up in order for us to be here? And sometimes that's the hardest part, and that is going to be the sacrifice of each individual. That is going to be the effort that we are willing to put in consciously. This is an action that we're going to have to take consciously. No instincts, no impulses, conscious action. And all that effort will be our living sacrifice. So, for you to consider changes, you have to also consider what you want to give up. Now that you know what you want to give up, now that you know where you want to get to, now that you know the path, the journey that you're on, now it's time to make that decision. Now, how do we make decision? That's a whole other thing. Because we want to make decisions, we want to keep the priority here, but we want to keep the options intact. And this is why sometimes we end up making poor decisions, because of these same options. What the mind is familiar with is the options. It is not familiar with the new thing that you want. So once these options are there, guess what? You're not going to choose the option. The mind will do it for you. But guess what? After you end up feeling guilty or disappointed in your own self, you're going to have to take the blame. So you say, I did it. No, you did not. Your habits did it. That character that you claim you don't have anymore, it made that decision for you. Because sometimes people talk about character, they're saying that, oh, they used to do this, they don't do it anymore. That doesn't define me, that's not my character. Yeah, but if what you used to do, you are still doing it, even occasionally, once in a while, it's still the character. Because you're no longer speaking of something of the past. That character is still present. It shows up based on certain situations. So we're going to look through all of these different aspects and see how we can apply changes, conscious changes in our lives, not changes done out of the ego. Because it's going to fall right back to where it was. Alright? So, what we have to understand about the Most High, right, is that He binds and He separates. For example, now you're having daylight, the sun is there. But what happens when the sun goes beyond the horizon. You're separated from day. But while you're being separated from day, you're not left open. You're binded into what? Night. So this binding and separating is natural. Right? So it's the same if you want to apply a certain change on your spiritual path. If you're separating from all, if you're trying to separate from all your old ways, but you're not doing something new, guess what? Those old ways are going to show back up and you're going to welcome it. And guess what? It's going to even come back with more enticing things. The demons leave the house, they come back, find it empty because you did not bind your soul to something higher than you. So it's empty, it's open. So now the demon comes back and bring company. So we have to understand this part of it. The binding and the separating, the giving up, and the taking of new action, conscious actions. Right? No, as we mentioned about effort, everything that we're going to do that is different from what we are accustomed to will take effort. And it will take a lot because not only are you going to have to start doing it, but it's going to take a while for you to be established into what you're doing new. Because you still can fall back to the old ways. It's natural. And this is where you have to be strong to know not to give up. You get up this time, you try, you make it to here, you fall back, you get up again, and you go a little bit further. You fall again, and you get up, and you continue going until you reach your ultimate goal. When you reach here, this is where you'll be established in it after constant repetition of the same thing. Now you're established here, you're so firm, falling is almost impossible. You've developed enough momentum on this path, so the only thing left now is to go forward. So when you're starting your change, it's like going up the hill. But now when you reach to that pinnacle of your change, guess what? The momentum you have is just going down. It's hard to go backwards over the hill. It's just going forward. So let us take a simple example. For example, what if you want to wake up and exercise? So say the point B where you want to get to is, your ultimate goal is to exercise. Now let's talk. What is conducive to it and what would be hindering you from getting up early and doing your exercises, right? What do you have for me? One of the things you will need to do is to wake up early. Wake early. What is going to be against waking up early? Sleeping late. There you go. So, sleeping late. So you see, it's simple. One is for and one is against. So once you're able to give up sleeping late at night, then you're doing what? Moving into a relationship with waking early. You're creating the possibilities, you're creating the opportunity to wake up early. So it's simple. Now, waking is one thing. You still don't reach to doing the actual exercise yet. No. Waking up, waking early, and feeling okay physically, mentally. Because sometimes you can wake up and you wake up feeling even more tired, right? So you wake up, you want to wake up with a good feeling. Feeling good, right? You don't want to wake up and feel drained or tired or whatever. So whatever you do in the night before, you're going to have to also give it up. So if you're spending time watching movies, if you're something that is consuming your energy, your mental energy at night, you're going to have to also give it up. Even snacking. Sometimes you can be snacking on all these stupid things. So when you should be sleeping, when you should be When your body should be repairing its tissue, guess what? It is busy breaking down foods that you can hardly process, that it can hardly process. Those foods are not natural. You're snacking on these unnatural things, these processed foods. So you're gonna have to give up all of those snacking at night. Or movies, whatever you're doing, that is draining your mental energy. Right? Now, the next thing. So you wake up feeling good now. But guess what? There's another challenge. Get out of bed. Because you may wake up, you might say you want to exercise at 5:30. You may wake up at 5:30. But guess what? You still don't have the willpower to get out of the bed. Right? So what would you have to do? What would be standing in the way of that? Once you wake up, you have to do what? Try not to stay in bed. Right. So when you wake up, you don't want to be cooling off in bed still. Oh, I'm going to take a 5 minutes or 10 minutes to cool off in bed. No, 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 no. If you want to cool off, wherever you're going to go to do that exercise, go there to cool off. Right? You go there, so you wake up, you get up, you grab your gears, and you go to the spot where you're going to be doing the exercise. You don't remain in bed. So all of these are little steps. So the next thing now, you might get up, you might put on your gears. Now you go to the spot where you're going to exercise. Guess what happens? You still don't have what it takes to start. But that's not a problem. That's part of the goal. So the next thing is, now you're out of bed, you want to go to the place of exercise. Go to the place of exercise. What would hinder you from going there? You want to be somewhere that is comfortable, warm, where you can sit down or lay down. No, you don't want to do that because that's not conducive. So you have to be willing to give up that warmth place that you want to be. So So you don't want to stay anywhere that is comfortable to put you back to sleep. Right? So you give up that, then you can be present for your exercise. Right? Now the next thing is, now that you're there, guess what? It's time to do the first move. Start working out. What would hinder you from start working out? You'll want to sit down, lay down on the spot, do some lazy workout. No. So you have to be willing to give up that. You have to be willing to give all of that up. So you don't want to find any other engagements than exercising. So it's simple. Repentance. On your spiritual journey, on your spiritual path, what are you now willing to give up that is hindering you from becoming what you want to become. You have to be aware of that. You make a list of all the things that are hindering you, everything that stands in the way of you changing. And also, you have to make a list of everything that you want to do, because the new actions that you're about to take is what going to make you the ideal that you want to become, that goal that you want. That is what is going to help you to accomplish that goal. The Most High says, if you love me, keep my commandments. So keeping the commandments, the actions that you're taking to obey his laws, is what is going to bind you into oneness with him. And that binding is what we call love. He is love. He will see a reflection of himself in us when we're doing his commandments, when we're living his word, when the word is becoming flesh in us, in what we're doing, in how we talk to people, how we treat each other. Then we know we are sons, we are children of the Most High. So the more actions we take regarding his laws, the more we keep his commandments, is the more we're binded to him. The more we go against his laws, we disobey, is the more we're separated from him. Right? So at first, all of these will be very difficult to start. To wake up early. Who wants to get out of bed early? To go and exercise? Mm-mm. So waking up early, that feeling when you wake up early as if you're ready to take on the day, getting out of bed, because you wake up, you now reach for your phone, your tablet, your computer, the remote, something that you can stay in bed and be having something to stimulate your mind without having to remove your body out of bed, remove yourself from under the warm sheet, or the comfort of the bed itself, or the room itself, right? The place of exercise, and start working out. All of those are new actions that you have to be willing to take, and all of this that you're doing is going to be your effort. The effort of waking up early, the effort of that feeling, the effort of getting out of bed, the effort of going to where you're going to exercise, the effort of actually starting the exercise is going to be hard at first. But this is not your ultimate goal. So if you fall short in one of these, guess what? You will find out. You said you want to get up early. You set your alarm to wake up 5:30. You wake up and you cancel the alarm and you go back to sleep. That's okay. Because when you're applying changes, it takes what? The spirit of compassion. Sometimes the mercy or the grace we show to others, we don't have the same compassion on ourselves. If it was someone else, you can say, okay, you can understand, let them sleep, let them rest. But with you, you have this feeling of disappointment or guilt as if you're the worst. No, it's okay. It's not easy to change something in an instant like this. It doesn't work that way. Some days you might be doing good, you might be doing all of this, and then one day you wake, you just cannot start exercise. These are going to happen because these are just small goals that you have to master first. So then you can just start, we can just wake up and go straight into your exercise. All of that takes time. You have to first develop the momentum of here first. Then exercise will become easy for you. Just like a person who goes to the gym now, every day. They don't struggle with this. But at first, they might. Sometimes you might go in the gym, you might sit on the machine, and you just don't do anything. But when you get there now, guess what? You want to do everything. You're established in what you're doing. You're established in the change because you yourself now become the change. You have grown. You're spiritually mature. Keeping the law is now easy for you. At first, it was a struggle. Oh, I cannot eat that anymore. I cannot eat that anymore. Oh no, you see it like you don't even desire it. Not even the thought is here of, oh, I miss eating this. I miss doing that. The thought is no longer there. And that's when you know that you are at a point of not falling back to your old self. The thought itself is dead. Because everything we do, it starts from a thought. Right? Let's put it here. Everything we do starts from a thought. What comes out of a thought? You do or you act. This action now becomes a habit. What happens with this habit pattern? It now becomes the character. Simple as coming from a thought. You become the thought. That's the only thing you can think of. That's the only thing you can do. And this is how you want to break from this pattern, which is called repentance. But to separate from all these old thoughts, all these actions, all these habits, separate from this character that your spirit is no longer pleased with. It has to do what? Something totally different that is going to bind you in a relationship with the new morals that you want to take on to, the new principles. What are you willing to give up? No, that's the important part. So, when you want to make a decision, guess what? How do you choose between waking early and sleeping late? It's easy. This is no longer a choice. So sleeping late is not an option anymore. So the only thing you have to do is to go to bed early. This option is no longer there. When you get in, you find something in the cabinet to munch on, to snack on. This option is no longer there. You no longer doing this. So you don't need to go and buy all these things you used to buy at the store, at the food store anymore. You're not putting them in your cabinet anymore. So it's no longer an option for you. Because sometimes what we want to do is we want to still buy them, but say, okay, no, I'm not really eating that. I'm not really doing that. Then why is it there in the first place? So if it's hindering you, why are you putting a stumbling block in your own way? This is what these are, stumbling blocks. You don't put stumbling blocks in your brother and sister's way, and you don't put it in your own way. Right? Don't cool off in bed. The bed will not be there. In your mind, the bed should not be an option. So once you open your eyes, you get up, the bed is no longer there in your head. The desire to be comfortable. There's only one place you need to be when you get up. And it's the place where you're going to be doing your working out. So anywhere that is comfortable is no longer an option. Anything else that you would engage yourself in that would be stopping you from exercising? Whether you go to read books, you go to watch this, you go on your phone to check your messages. No. That's not an option either. So you are only choosing from the only things that are conducive to where you want to get to. Because the mind itself is going to choose what it is familiar with. You are not the one choosing to remain in bed when you know you have to exercise. You know what would be the only thing to get you out of bed to exercise? If it was part of your job protocol. That's the only thing that can motivate you. You cannot do it for yourself, but if it was part of your protocol at work, you would be doing it. That's how hard it is to do something for yourself. You're not even doing it because you're getting the money to do it. You're doing it because your job requires you to do it. That's the only reason. Because if a gym instructor should be paying you just to come and work out, you probably would not have the motivation. That money would not be enough to motivate you to just come and exercise. So it's the same as doing anything else that is good for you.